Good evening, everyone. This is Edge from Edge Plays. Again, welcome to the Edgecast. Today, we have more guests. We have Strife, who is a friend of mine, who's been playing some games recently. We have N7Kate again.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to be back.
And we've got Dante as well.
Hello there.
So, well, as usual in the podcast, the very beginning bit is we will just talk about some highlights of the fun we've had this week, anything positive. As I've always mentioned each of the podcasts, just to reiterate, it's just a little bit of fun, just a bit of positivity before we get into the topic. Kate, Dante, Strife, anything you want to mention?
Do you want us to go first? Can do, if you want. Dante and I, okay. So, obviously, as everybody on, my channel anyway will know, for the last week, I took a break. So, Dante and I have actually been away on holiday. We actually went abroad to Montenegro for a week, never been before. And oh my God, that country is so beautiful.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Good weather as well, like not too hot, like just right. It was like 29 degrees, like just right. But it was really beautiful. So we just really had a week away, not only like just a week away from the channel and work, which is really nice, but like generally a week away from social media, apart from posting pictures on like Facebook for friends and family to see. Like literally, like I wasn't like on my phone checking comments and responding to comments all the time. I actually got some reading done, which was really awesome. So we got to chill and explore different places in Montenegro. We stayed in a place called Tivat, for anyone interested, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Like we stayed in a nice hotel, and it was just beautiful, like sea and got mountains, and it was gorgeous, really, really nice. It was like nothing. It was so clean and really quiet. It was very interesting, like to be in a place that's so quiet and so chill. I've never felt more chill and more relaxed than I have in the last week. So it was exactly what the doctor ordered. I was feeling a bit burnt out and I needed to recharge my batteries, and it definitely did do that, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice and got some good adventuring and exploring about. But then, we had the odd chill day when it was thunderstorming and such. And Kate's there reading the Mass Effect Andromeda book.
Yeah. I read Nexus Uprising, which is like the prequel to the game. So it's basically what happened to the Nexus and that everything went to shit. And it was really good, and it fleshes out like a lot of the characters like that you meet, like some of the side characters and stuff. So I recommend it. It's a good read.
Is that the end after the end of Mass Effect 3, but before Andromeda? Then in between.
So Andromeda is set 500 years technically after the events of Mass Effect. Basically, they leave between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. So before the Reapers have arrived, they basically leave before then. Then they go into cryogenic sleep for 500 years, like you do, as they travel to the Andromeda Galaxy. And then the game is very much set, like everyone's dead, maybe, except maybe Rex and Liara might still be around, obviously, because they're long-lived species. But yeah, it's completely separate from Mass Effect 3. So yeah, new characters and everything. But I wanted to I've read the original trilogy books, the Mass Effect books, but I haven't really read much of the Andromeda stuff. And I was kind of interested to read them. There's 3 books. There's one that's like Nexus Uprising, which is like the prequel to like Andromeda. Then there's one that's focused on Cora, one of your companions. She's got this really interesting backstory with Asari commandos. And how she kind of a little bit about her. And then there is one which is around the Quarians, because obviously we didn't get that DLC, so they decided to release it in a book, and which is sad.
Your way around.
Yeah, and it basically it goes into what happened to the Quarian arc and everything. They're very worth reading. I recommend. But I love reading. I actually love reading, but I never get time, because I'm just constantly either working or making content or playing games or watching stuff. I don't get enough time to read, which is something I like to do. So I'm going to try and make more time to read in the evening, as opposed to checking my phone, which is not good to do before you sleep. It's not good to do. So I'm going to try and make more of an effort to read, for sure.
Cool. Dante, anything you want to add to what you've been up to?
Rather than a novel, I brought my old DS with me to try and get through some backlog. Surprisingly, Pokemon Conquest, which is Nobunaga's Ambition game, that's skinned with Pokemon.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually. I think I started it, got 6 hours through it like a year or two ago. I went, actually, I'll pick it back up, continue on. So slowly cracking through that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I must admit, I never get any luck when it comes to going back to a game that I've left for ages. I can't do it. I end up having to start from scratch, and then I generally get to around the same point, and then I stop again for a bit, and then the vicious cycle rinses and repeats.
Yeah, there's some weird mechanics in this particular game where I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. How do I level up the towns and shops and stuff? And how do I do? And I'm like, I can't play it again. I'll just get on with it.
Especially if it's quite a technical game, it's quite hard to get back into because you forget all of the mechanics that you've learned. And if the game doesn't have a decent tutorial mode, like to go back and go, oh, that's how I do it, right? Like, it's kind of annoying. So yeah, I get it. I feel that pain.
Cool. Swipe, I think you've been playing No Man's Sky recently.
Ooh.
That I have, to be fair, for the past 18 days, I have literally just been jumping from one galaxy to the next, and I have made it now, finally, up to one of the galaxies that are no longer available in the game with the help of a Redditor, actually.
They've removed galaxies then in the game?
So Galaxy 200, anything above 255 was removed.
Right, okay.
No idea why. It was just removed in one of the Atlas Rises updates. And if you had access to it previously, you can still gain access to it, which is cool. So luckily, I found someone who actually... all I did is just post up a journey, a couple of tips, like avoid volcano places because they're awful. And
don't lick the lava.
No, do you know what? It was a little bit of a bug where if you was on a planet with active volcanoes, the monoliths and the portals can spawn inside of volcanoes, and you can't mine them out. So you end up having to go to a new galaxy just to rinse and repeat the same process.
And kind of... Oh, sorry, go on. I was going to say, I'm kind of semi-curious to jump back into No Man's Sky, because I played it when it first came out. And obviously we know what state it came out in, but we know how much they've added to the game, right?
So I've been playing a long time as well.
Really curious to jump back in and actually... I think I've still got it. I've still got it somewhere. It's collecting dust, I think, on my shelf.
Put it this way, and I tell you what, I think it was a video with it on, and it's a perfect way to describe it. It's a 10, but it didn't used to be.
Can you play it cooperatively now?
It's a great way to describe it.
Can you play it cooperatively now, or is it still only mostly single player?
You can play multiplayer, and you can land on derelict freighters and like sort of raid them together.
Okay, now that sounds fun. Like I don't think I'd want to play it by myself, but it's
like
a game that I
promised to begin with.
Yeah, it's a game I've been like. I just want to pretend to be a space pirate. That's what I want.
Would it make you happy to know then that they've I say recently, probably a few months back now, released the Outlaws update.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
So you can actually be... There's pirate systems and everything now. You can actually play as sort of pirates.
That's cool.
You could do anyway.
Cool.
I now actively play as a pirate, and I just picked one race. Right, I don't like you, so I'm just going to actively kill you.
That's awesome.
So wait, how did you get to this galaxy then? How that was missing?
So I posted my story on my little journey on Reddit. Just with all it was, I just took a screenshot, and every time I cleared a galaxy, I crossed it off manually on my phone, and I just posted the picture. A couple of bits I picked up along the way, just like like the whole feel good thing. It's like it's a journey. Enjoy it while you're doing it. It's that type of thing. And it was literally someone commented saying, "What about Galaxy 256?" And I just stated it was removed, and he said, I still have access to it. If you want it, just add me on there, and I'll send you an invite, and you can come across.
That's awesome.
So I'm now in Galaxy 256 on a nice, easy, nice planet near the galaxy core, building a base on the water.
That's cool.
Because I can.
Sounds like it's got a really good community then, which is nice.
Does.
That's awesome. That's important, I think, in any game. Yeah, I mean, like I was the other like space pirate kind of game I was looking forward to was Beyond Good and Evil 2, and that sounds like that game's just disappeared.
It's gonna happen.
It's not coming out.
It's coming out in 2032, possibly.
That's not coming out.
I know, looks so fucking cool, and I'm like, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Plus, it's Ubisoft, and they've not got a great track record at the moment. So yeah, maybe No Man's Sky might be the way that I live out my space pirate fantasy. Possibly.
Do you know what? I actually got No Man's Sky by accident.
Oh, right.
I saw
like
some
story.
No, I literally was one of the YouTubers I used to follow in regards to Monster Hunter World and stuff like that. Was just doing a live stream and I was just following it. He was playing Elite Dangerous, and then he went off on talking about No Man's Sky, and I just ended up buying it on a whim. This was absolutely ages ago. So this was when you had to pick up like plutonium to fuel your ship. Those type of days when you probably started, and
yeah,
it just worked. And to be fair, this game has had a solid part of everything that I've done recently. Like, long story short, well, little boy's now 4 years old, but while the missus was pregnant, we were just sort of sat here. We were just sort of like going around together, just exploring all the planets and stuff like that. So
that's cool. That's awesome. That sounds cool.
So it sounds like everyone's been quite busy, which is quite good. Me and Strife, we also have been playing other games as well. So we recently been playing PSO2 New Genesis on the PS5, which is free to play at the moment, which is interesting.
That's Phantasy Star Online.
Phantasy Star Online, right? Yeah.
Online. New Genesis. It's free to play. You can download it. I made a character with guns. He made a character with swords.
Nice.
It took us a while to work out how to team up together, and there was much laser beams of death.
That's an understatement.
So many laser beams.
Oh, one of those.
What is it with JRPGs or like
not being able to
multiplayer together?
There was a scene that me and Strife were literally kind of going, he could be alive, and you were like, no, he's pretty much fucking dead. I'm like, I mean, we didn't see the body got vaporized, mate. I mean, do you not see that beam? I mean, to be honest, he was built like a brick shit house. He looked like he could survive pretty much anything. I reckon he'd be like slightly more tanned.
He has not survived.
He's
no
tanned.
way.
I mean, he was already pretty tanned to begin with, so maybe he'd be a little bit, burnt. But I mean, if he comes back half alive later on, I'm calling it. Told he fucking tanked it.
I will accept that.
If
it happens, I will accept it.
Fair dues.
Was it a vaporizing
I just don't think it will.
Confused with teleportation, like they cop out with sometimes.
I mean, yeah, no, true. I mean, he could have teleported out in that way. It's a fun game because so far what we've played, it's very similar to PSO2 that was released on Steam, and on other clients, and that's been same mechanics and a few extra bits. Movement is great. It's got big open maps for exploration. You can hover, you can fly, you can jump. The customization is nuts. I could make a mech character with a girl's face, or make a giant armored dude of death with like a cutesy girl anime face. And I'm like, this does not work whatsoever.
Okay.
And call it Poppy.
I will literally record. I will record me and Strife just making a character and just laughing at how insanely stupid it is, because it's amazing. That's what sold me on making the game and playing it more properly, in fairness.
But to be fair, you were sort of like screen sharing it to me at the time. I was like, yeah, go on, it's free to play, why not?
Yeah, and we've enjoyed it so far for what it is. For a free to play game, it's good fun. I mean with that, there's like there are bits about it, like the cutscenes are a little bit kind of not bare bones, but probably a bit kind of. But other than that, yeah,
they're unpolished.
and visually, some of the characters look just weird. But
Okay.
saying that, it's a fine game.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Gonna throw some vids up of it later.
I will be recording some vids of it.
Shenanigans.
Oh god,
Nice.
definitely. Me and Swipe
Awesome.
that.
Yeah. Good to capture that stuff.
And then I have now finally started it, and I told you this, and you were like, "Oh my god, it's happening!"
Nobody panic! It's happening! It's happening! No one panic!
I started a no sword punch run
Can't wait to see this.
of The Witcher.
Do you know
3.
what? He's doing surprisingly well at the moment.
Really? How far in are you? I can't wait to watch this. Are you uploading it on your channel as a
He's
Let's
finished
Play?
White Orchard so far.
I
You
called it.
finished.
I was about to say. So I've killed the griffin.
Ooh, with just fists?
Well, I mean,
Just fists and signs.
And signs.
I am impressed. I cannot wait to see this.
Oh, we allowed him to have.
How many
signs as well?
attempts did it take you? Have you got a death counter? Please tell me you've got a death counter.
I haven't died yet.
Oh, that's impressive. I need to see
I
evidence of this. I'm not sure I believe you.
I recorded 2 hours of video, and then
Dude.
so hear me out. Okay, so
Okay.
straight off the bat, because obviously you've got to use the sword till a certain point.
Mhm.
As soon as I could unequip it, I unequipped it, and then there came a point where it forces you back to it again. So again, I took it off.
Mhm.
I took a couple of bad hits from some of the water creatures,
Yep.
and some of the ghouls can be hitting really hard.
Mhm.
However, my playstyle has been slowly evolving. So currently the proviso is I am not using swords of any kind. If I can punch it, I'll be punching it. If I have to use signs to kind of get around to punching them, I do so. So, for example, I have made stun bombs that stun people.
Nice, yeah.
So I'm almost becoming like Batman, as it were. I am effectively becoming Batman.
Using the tools.
If I can, and
All right.
get a mask. So as soon as I get a mask, I'm putting it on, and I'm becoming.
I think the bear school armor I think is good for like physical. Like
It's based on melee, innit?
I think so.
He's
It's one
going
that concentrates
for
on
the
melee.
increase. He's going Griffin for the increased sign damage.
Yes, yeah.
What?
I remember,
I've got
because I wore wolf school, I think, because or was it cat school? Because I was
Cat
all about
school.
the critical. I did cat school because I freaking love that armor set. The armor sets in Witcher are so good. I can't wait to see you get them. Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Realistically use them.
No, probably not. So are you gonna like cut this up as like episodes and upload it on your channel?
Yes, so I'm going to be cutting it up like how I do my 2 blokes and a Kate playing Monster World videos.
Right. Okay.
I will be doing a video soon,
Yeah.
just going over the rules. So first things first.
I might record a reaction to it.
Please do. I
might legitimately record a reaction to it with green screen and have me just react to it and then upload that on my channel for you to watch as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so far I've got a couple of video clips. So the challenge was that I don't use a sword of any kind. I do use signs, and I have made some bombs. I am slowly building up my play style. So at the moment, I have started to use. I think is it Axie or Agni that does the mind control.
Axie.
It's the mind control one.
So I use the mind control one to stun them, and then I'm going down to the puppet tree so I can use fear and control them to fight each other for me.
I see. Okay.
And then I'm going to get the exploding force field so I can stun them backwards from me if I get surrounded.
Yeah.
And then I have the Igni spell with melt armor at max rank at the moment. Nice. So when I cast it, it gets rid of armor, so I can punch them through quicker. Now, hilariously, it does not work on a guy with a shield. So that one had to be I would use the mind control to stun them and then punch them out.
Right.
With the Griffin, I would use the melt armor spell. I would punch it a couple of times, realizing I'm doing jack shit. Time it to Igni again to weaken the armor more. So keep on punching it.
I can't wait to see how far. I would be so impressed if you completed the game like this.
My intention is to do so.
I know what's coming.
Well,
yeah.
I can't wait to see this.
I've already killed a wraith doing this at the moment.
Okay.
Which that is surprising.
Yeah.
I will put right out of the back. Killing the wraith was surprising.
Yeah, because don't you need Yarden to even make it corporal so you can punch it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do.
So, like I said, I am becoming like basically Batman in terms of using all the tools of trade except the sword. Like how Batman doesn't use guns. In this case, I'm not using guns. I'm using swords at this point. They're unequipped. They're physically not on my back. So when you're seeing me run around, I even fought a bear. I punched the fuck out of a bear.
That's funny.
And I won. I mean, I set fire to it, admittedly, but I punched it, so it was fine. I thought wolves so far. I mean, at the moment, you could say that it's a bit cheap using the Igni spell with throwing it of armor, but I would say it's good crowd control because I'm on my fucking own.
You cannot do anything without having to use some signs. You have to use signs against certain things anyway.
Yeah.
I'm more curious to when he starts fighting golems.
Punch the rocks off it.
Half an hour later. I can't wait. Okay. Well, we'll see because you're going to spec into it. So it'll be interesting to see the build. And I think you'll have to do a build breakdown of it, or something. Maybe a guide or something. Of
once you've doesn't have blood and wine.
Oh, God, man.
Because he hasn't got blood and wine. Because I was... When he started, it's like, look, put one of your skill points into this. The one that gives you infinite usage of the standing stone things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not available for him. It's a blood and wine expansion talent.
Saying that, if I do get the expansions, it becomes available. So that's also
worth getting. They're really good. Both expansions are fantastic. They're well worth getting, definitely.
I mean, I
think they're quite cheap now.
I actually completed White Orchard faster than I did using a sword.
And obviously because you're doing it like a challenge, you'll be in. I hope you're enjoying it. So that might encourage you to carry on playing and see how far you can get.
Because I'm trying to master the power of the Batman, as it were, at this point. I literally that is the story now.
I can't think of anybody less Batman than Geralt of Rivia.
I know. To be honest, if you're I literally am doing the punchy Batman build. That's what I'm calling it now.
Vesemir is just weeping.
No.
All those years of training that Geralt went through out the goddamn window.
I tell you what, though, the new Witcher game. If I can complete this Witcher game with no swords, I will do the same thing on the new one.
Nice. Okay.
When you get leveled up,
it's a big game. It's going to take you a while. It's a big game.
Can you call it Saitama and Rivia?
Yes. One punch.
Would you be scared if I took out a golem in one punch?
I would be impressed if you took out a golem.
So would I, actually.
Yes. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd be very impressed. Yes.
What if I punch it off a cliff?
I think it'd take a fair few punches. I don't even think
if it gives you XP, still counts.
Yeah,
it still counts. Yeah,
I guess so.
I haven't died yet though, so
I'm looking forward to it. I think for the first video, I definitely will do a reaction video because I think it'll be funny, and I'm sure you'll want to see my live reaction to watching it. I'm sure.
Well, the first video is going to be literally me kind of just talking through a little bit.
Okay, so let me know which one you want me to react to.
React to either of them.
All right, okay.
And then the next video will be then, in fairness, highlights of me talking with Strife while going through the motions and going, oh, fuck, and then being killed. But the good thing is I'll be basically editing it on the PS5, so it makes it a lot easier for me to release it.
All right, okay.
If I can find a video kind of thing to put to it, with Monster Hunter it was fairly alright. If there's one for The Witcher, I'll use the Witcher one and go
Toss a coin.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Toss a coin.
Toss a coin to your edge.
You're gonna get claimed so hard.
It's gonna be literally, if I can, I'll just put a picture of you crying, going, "You've ruined the game for me."
No. Actually, I think I would enjoy watching it. I like watching anything Witcher, so I don't care. I'll still enjoy it. I know it will.
Yeah, I've literally been. I've done the White Orchard. There's still a few bits to collect potentially in there. So I'm level 3 or almost level 4. So I don't know if I'm too low level yet to go to the next area, or if I need to find a few more bits to do. But once I get some of the starting armor, I'll move to the next location, and then just start farming and crafting. Basically, now that I know what I'm doing, it's just now trying to work out what the next thing is to do.
Yeah.
I haven't done Gwent either. I thought, fuck Gwent, I'm not doing that touch shit. I'm on a mission. I am here to punch shit out.
No.
Went so good, and
Yeah.
the story connected to that, like the side mission connected to that, is so good. It's really good. The
I'm here to
tournament.
play cards and punch people, and I'm all out of
It is.
cards.
That's brilliant. Oh my god.
Oh,
Put
that
that
was-
on a t-shirt. That was good.
I'm here to what and punch.
I'm here to punch people and play cards, and I'm all out of cards.
There we go. That's a
Definitely.
good one. That's good. But like with Siri, if I want to get to play Siri, do I use swords in that or do I not? Because I'm playing as
I
Geralt.
think you have to.
Oh, she's
You
stuck.
have to. You can't
She only
unequip.
has the
You
one,
don't have
yeah,
access to an
you can't
inventory.
change- yeah. So you will for series bits, but that's fine.
Oh,
It's,
well,
we-
that one.
it's Geralt that's punching, so that's fine.
And then like final boss, when I get to that point, I'm like, this fist of mine is glowing red. Shining finger.
If you could do the final, I will be mightily impressed.
I will too. Yes.
But is he going to
complete
be
that-
the point where he's going to be that strong with signs?
That's a good point. I mean, if I just nuke everything in one shot,
There's gonna be so much grinding off screen.
I'll literally just blow everything up, and then like he's like on one health, I just punch him out, and like, well, that was done. I beat him with a fist. Magical nuke bullshit. Right then. So I think we have gone over a little bit there for 27 minutes. On the
I
bit
want
there.
another 20 minutes of this. Let's go.
No.
I mean, obviously,
move on.
if we do roll over too long with this, we can do a part 2. I might timestamp it and say go about 25 minutes in, 26
With
minutes
the
in.
topic, yeah, you
Yeah.
could do that. Yeah, and
Just go to about 20 minutes in to actually get to why you click this link.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Kate mentioned a really good thing, which was things about talking about game length.
yeah.
So this is when we're looking at when we're coming to choose to buy a game. Is game length something you take into account? Is it as kind of up there now compared to things like replayability, like shortness, fun factor kind of thing, value for money? I will say that the proviso I'm putting here is that nothing that artificially creates it, like for example those like time sync games where you've got to wait several hours to then have something happen before doing it. That's bullshit. So basically,
Mhm.
normally
That's
what we
mobile
class as
Farming sims? Is that like farming sims kind of thing?
anything that artificially lengthens a game for the fuck of it. So like
Right,
generally,
yeah,
as long as it's
yeah.
content that you can play that you would enjoy, that is there already.
Mhm.
DLC won't count. So it
Mhm.
has to the game as it comes out, as it is. So
Yep.
obviously I can't talk about Final Fantasy here because Final Fantasy 14 is an ongoing game service that
Yeah.
gets expansion. So that was
Yeah,
unfair to probably put here because it's new content all the time. So should I probably start this off then, and then we kind of go?
Well, that
between
takes
each
out
one?
No Man's Sky as well.
And so I've got quite a few games I can talk about and things, but you start at Edge and then we'll pop in with our own take on things.
Yeah. So I suppose for me, when it comes to buying games, unlike say in general, I like to try and budget. So now being married and settled down, though I do love playing games, I have to be a bit more picky because nowadays I find that the market is kind of oversaturated for choice sometimes, and it's not necessarily a good choice, but it's choice nonetheless. Like the indie market or the quick kind of mobile games and stuff is kind of exploding, even more still nowadays. So for me, when it comes to buying a game, I will look at how much it costs versus how many hours I'm going to get out of it, as it were. So a good example would be when I was playing Monster Hunter Rise with yourselves. If we ignore the moment the recent expansion that came out, which was Sunbreak, to me that would be like, well, how many hours and how many hunts am I going to be playing with that? Because I've played Monster Hunter games before, I kind of know, how much I'm going to get out of it, whether it's like 70 hours, 80 hours. If I'm constantly playing it, and then I stop and then pick it back up again later when new stuff comes out, it's it's worth itself in terms of that. Now, obviously, there are some games out there that are expensive, and a good example, and I know Dante's going to slap me one on this one probably, is things like Shantae. So I love Shantae. Just before we get it out there, I think it's a really good platformer series. Very colourful, very good to pick up, and has a nice kind of replay to a degree.
Metroidvania, though, isn't it?
It's Metroidvania, but my kind of concern with it is, sometimes it can be quite expensive for what it is, and like you can complete the game quite quick. Resident Evil 2 remake I played a couple of years back, or Resident Evil 3 remake. That one was actually quite a short game for what you paid for it, and I could complete that in a couple of hours if you're very good at the game anyway. So a lot of the time I'll see these costs for these games, or even like these live service games, where they go, "Oh yeah, you're going to get loads of content in," and there's not it just is not that fun. But yeah, for me, game length and value for money is what I look for. And if it's a small game, the price does put me off, because sometimes they're charging almost the same price as one of these like big long games I like playing, and I don't like that. It puts me off from playing it, and that probably makes it an unfair rap as well for some of those, or rep, because it's like I'm not giving them a chance maybe to play them. But at the same token, like if I'm budgeting for because I'm already planning out what I'm playing for the rest of the year now, it feels like I can't really afford to waste money that I could be playing other games that I'm not going to enjoy, or I'm going to get much out of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, I'm a content creator, right? So when I am looking at games I'm covering, and I'm looking at, I think length shouldn't be the only consideration for a game's value. There are games that are 150 hours long, and some are better than others, right? And it very much depends on how much of that game has filler content, right? How much of it is just padding to lengthen out, unnaturally lengthen out that game's size. Say for example, the main story campaign is 20 hours. Let's say Cyberpunk 2077, right? You can beat that main story campaign in about 20 hours, give or take. But they pad out so much more with side content and filler and things. So for me, it's not always the game's length, but I get what you're saying, because there have been games that are 4 or 5 hours long that are being priced at £60, which is completely unacceptable in my opinion, right? So I do think pricing should to a degree reflect the game's length, but I've played some games recently, because for some reason this year particularly, the I hate those terms. I hate the terms AAA and AA and indie or whatever. But the AAA market is very saturated. You are right, but a lot of the big AAA games are very cookie cutter. They use very same open world, game mechanics for big games. Like Ubisoft, for example, are guilty of it, right?
Oh God, I've watched.
And
I couldn't play that.
Take for example the Assassin's Creed series, right? I am a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. I've played every single Assassin's Creed up to date. I absolutely love them. One, because I love history, right? But the very first Assassin's Creed that I have not completed, have not beaten, haven't even beaten the main story campaign for, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Because that game is too frigging big. The world is too huge. The characters, the story is... because it's a big open world, the story is very, bitty, if I can explain it. And it's just too big. So you get to a point where you... it felt like a chore to play. When a game gets to a point where it's oh my God, I just want to finish this game.
Yeah.
That
I kind of agree with you on that one. And don't get me wrong, I'm the same. I love Assassin's Creed games, and I absolutely love Valhalla. But I've not even completed the storyline on it. Black Flag, I think, was one of my favorites, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that. But
no, I love
Black Flag. Was our favorite.
Black Flag was great.
Black Flag was brilliant.
I'm a big fan of probably Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are my favorite, and Black Flag is right up there as well. But the new Assassin's Creed,
Rogue though as well.
Right, yeah.
Playing as a Templar.
Yeah, Rogue is good. But I'm actually looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed Mirage because they said it's going back to the roots, so it's going to be linear and it's going to focus more on assassinations and not this big open world kind of thing that they've done. So I'm actually, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, right? So I think that's sometimes where, when a lot of like studios are trying to cater to everyone, so that it just loses that core of what makes it unique. That's what I look for in games now, is something unique, something different.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why I've been enjoying the indie scene a lot, right? And discovering games like Steel Rising and Cult of the Lamb and Loop Mancer and all the other indie, because like they're doing something different, something new. They're just I don't know. I like it. Yeah, I guess I just felt burnt out by all these huge games. Like, we've just finished Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I'm sure Dante's going to talk about that, right? With it.
I can.
Yeah, but I suppose it might feel different for Dante because he was playing it and I was watching him play it. But by the 170th hour, I was just like, I just want to finish the story. Can we just finish the story, please? And that's how I felt towards the end, and that's not good.
I could have dragged that out further, but you weren't there for all 170
No,
hours.
I wasn't.
There's a lot
You're
of
right.
side content while you weren't there.
Yeah, but that's more like a balance of side content and the main story. Because, for example, Final Fantasy X, if you did all the side content before the final boss, that's like hours upon hours upon hours enough content. You're overpowered, and then you are literally like, I can't be. It's like, I'm just done. Kill the final boss. There's a limit between having enough content to keep the game interesting and keep playing, and then there's is it going to ruin the main story or the enjoyment of that? Like Xenoblade Chronicles X, for example. I played that with you guys on the Wii U, and though I enjoyed it, the story was again in very small bits, and the amount of content you had to do, the artificial lengthening, having to level up and skill up to get to certain points, was just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, a lot of games seem to suffer from that. When you've got big long epics and all that, you're following the main plot, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, that's really urgent and whatnot. Oh no, let's now do this side questy thing and some grinding here. And it's like, what was the plot?
Carrots for you to farm your plot of land, but I do have to save this world. But I can do your fetch quest. That's tough. That's fine. That'll give me that level up item that I'll need. That might come in handy later.
It can become very disjointed for your enjoyment and experience, especially when it's so story driven.
Yeah.
But
I think that's why for me as well, because I am very story driven. So anything that messes with that story pacing, I'm not a big fan of. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. If you're gonna do side quests and such like that, they need to be worth it. Such as those hero quests in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's okay, those ones are worth doing because they go into more depth with the characters and other heroes and such. Whereas other minor side quests are no, that's just time wasting. That's just annoying. So it's not just the length, it's the girth. What am I on about now?
What conversation are we having here? Where is this coming to? Right, okay.
Yeah, it's the quality of content, basically.
That's memeable. All right, then.
Yeah. I had to throw something in there for the fun. Clip it, right? Make it really memeable around the internet, and then they'll all come to your channel edge. just to find out where it came from. This is how we do it. Shh.
I suppose, with game length and content, they are synonymous for me. So, if it's an interesting game that has enough for me to do, then that will set me off, which is quite nice. Like Persona 5. Persona 5 is not a short game.
No.
But there's plenty of fun content that you can optionally do, though it's worth doing it. I spent you probably both the same. I found that I was longer and longer not doing the main dungeons, living in a life simulator.
Yeah.
But I only did what I got out of it, as it were.
Yeah.
So I could choose not to continue it, and then obviously I wouldn't get all the rewards. But it was like New Game Plus, so there were things like you could just do it again and then replay it to do what you wanted. So there's no pressure there as there is to get it all done in the first time. So there was great sort of content for that. Like Monster Hunter is a good example, as I mentioned earlier, because the game length is there because the whole entire point is you're teaming up with friends. Every fight is going to be slightly different. It's not going to go the same way every time. Like there have been times where me and Strife have been fighting an Nagakuga, and we've not taken almost a single hit. And then there'll be times when an Nagakuga becomes like Chuck Norris and kicks the living shit out of us. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think there are definitely multiplayer games are definitely something in of themselves because it is about that. To a degree, you're making your own experiences, right? Your own story kind of thing of it. And like with Monster Hunter World, like I put over 500, 600 hours into that game and did not notice myself putting that much time into it and enjoyed every goddamn moment of it, right? Because the core loop is great and being able to play with your friends and hunting for the armor sets and that works. I think those kind of that kind of length. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Like there are certain games where you could just put hundreds and hundreds of hours. I think for me as a content creator as well, when I am looking at what content I'm going to cover on the channel, I do have to factor in time, right? Because I do work as well, and yeah. So like, if it's a game that's going to take me 170 hours, like I'm like I don't. Like, and recently, like, you've got Game Pass, haven't you? So sometimes it's not necessarily about the cost of a game, more it's about the value of your time, right? And if you're going to put that into a game, do you want to spend 170 hours on just one game, or do you want to try out different games? Like, it depends on what you're looking for. Xbox Game Pass recently have just done a collaboration with How Long It Takes to Beat. Have you heard of that channel? That website? Have you ever heard of it? So they've just done a collaboration with them. It's an update that's just happened on the Xbox Game Pass on PC. And now when you go next to every single game, when you go to the full details screen, it will actually give you a breakdown of how long it takes to beat the main story, extra missions, 100% completion, to give you an idea of how long maybe each game might take you to beat. So you can choose. Because I think with the Game Pass as well, like things rotate, don't they? So things leave all the time. So that sometimes
which winds me up.
Yeah. So that sometimes might. So that's a whole different thing, isn't it? Really, in terms of the value of your time and what counts as good value for your time. Yeah. I think if it's a financial thing, then yeah, if you only buy 2 games in a year, you're going to want to pick those carefully.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, look at Sonic the Hedgehog. Like I play that all the time. Like I got Sonic Mania and I could play that all the time repeatedly just through a couple of levels.
Yeah.
And that's just replayability with the game length because that's the mechanics of the type of game that you're playing. It's difficult because there's so many different games out there and there's just so much choice. It's just knowing your own personal preference, what is you're going to enjoy out of. And for those on a budget, I think game length does come into account because look at FIFA. If you look at FIFA, some people only buy one game a year. And their sports games are the only thing they play, but they'll get heckin' hours of that, or like months of content out of that one game. And I mean, we could all agree here that I'm not a sports gamer, and I will never, admittedly out loud, officially say it's shit because it's. I mean, no, it must be a good game for those who play it because it's something they invested in, and that would be unfair of me to say it's shit. But to be honest, like, though I wouldn't enjoy
not
that
my
game,
style of game.
yeah. That's giving them enough content again because of the mechanics. Because every match is going to be a little bit different. Normally, they're going to be getting that kind of. And if we're avoiding the whole loot box situation as well, and just focusing on just the content of the game, it's just they're playing it repeatedly with new people all the time, and they're getting that replay value for what they spend the money on. Like I understand for your channel, Kate, that you'll be having to even then you'll still probably have to kind of look through what you choose to want to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of look on games and be like, okay, I really, even for myself personally, like I'm looking forward to that. Like we're going to be playing like the new Bayonetta 3 and really looking forward to Mario Rabbids, like Sparks of Hope. Like the first one was fantastic. Like, so I do try and cover varied content on the channel because I do have a varied community. But what I have tried to do this year is what I've tried to consciously the last 2 years is I might have only focused on those bigger games, like the AAA games that are like your 60 or 80-hour games or whatever. And this year I've gone, you know what? I'm feeling really burnt out on those games. I'm actually going to pick up and try some other titles, and I've played more indie titles this year, and I've been actually really pleasantly surprised by like actually how much I've enjoyed them. And they felt like a just a breath of fresh air. And it's been like refreshing to like play a game that I can beat in 10 to 15 hours, but I get it, not everybody's in a situation that I'm in, and obviously indie titles are priced a little bit cheaper, so they might be £15, £20. They're not a full price game, but I feel like sometimes if you only ever focus on game length, you might miss out on some gems.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Everyone.
For me, to be fair, it's not necessarily about the game length. Sometimes it's down to replayability as well. Like if I can complete a game and then maybe think, all right, I'll leave that for a bit, go on to something else, but then I can go back. I tell you what, I know it's a bad example, but it's an example nonetheless. Skyrim. You can play that game. Let's face it, you can complete the main story in that in not long at all.
20 minutes.
But no, not that quick. But every time, and you can guarantee, every time you play it, you will always play it slightly different.
Yeah, in different classes.
I mean,
yeah.
Let's face it. We're always going to play the sneak archer, but it's always going to be slightly different somewhere or another.
So, yeah, with the game length, my to be quite clear of mine is basically game length is a big thing that I look for, but I also do look at the games that interest me for those kind of things that are going to keep me going until the next game that I want to play comes out. Because I'll normally kind of see what's coming out for the next 12 months and then kind of plan with my budget what games that I want to play. Now, obviously, if games become cheaper...
Edge doesn't sound like a druggie at all. I need to find something that can just give me a fix till the next one.
Well, I mean, last year I played through Resident Evil 8, didn't I? And that's not a very long game, but it was fun.
Was that last year?
I think it was last year, yeah. And then I played through Tales of Arise, and that was not a short game.
That's a big game, fairly big game.
But I enjoyed that one. Like, for me, JRPGs and like RPGs in general are synonymous with like game length. I will agree though that with playing a lot of those, I'll get burnt out.
Yeah.
A little bit. So I've had to be very careful, especially with my JRPGs, because sometimes I get like 5 or 6 come out at once. Yeah. And I did get burnt out with Ghost of Tsushima. As I was playing through it, I got to the second and third island, and I was just done. And I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's a very fun game. But with trying to get every little thing done, every nook and cranny done, it did burn me out for playing these sandbox games. And for example, I didn't even pick up Saints Row, and I love Saints Row. Like I played 3 and 4. Saints Row 3 was amazing with the humor, the customability, the kind of the character and the sense of humor. And then 4, though probably not as good for me as 3. Was still pretty fun. I've seen Angry Joe did a review, and I watched some of the gameplay footage of it, and I was like, yeah, no. It is oversaturated with these like artificially long games, service things, and like it's for me like game length just helps, because if I'm going to be spending 60 quid on a game and I'm going to be playing it, in my mind game length is if I get at least 60 hours out of a game, that's £1 an hour, as it were. That's not bad. That's the kind of piece I play with. So even if it's like a very short game, like Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm replaying levels, like I played Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast and GameCube with my sister, and we spent like 12 plus hours easy just trying to one-up each other on the first level, City Escape, to get the highest A rank or S rank. I think it was A ranks back then. And we were literally just. She would do it, and then I would do a better score, and she was so competitive, and she would just literally just. And again, that's just artificially increasing it. But if you're getting, for me, for game length, if you're getting, for me personally, game length means like if you are getting so many hours out of playing this game, that's good value for money. Even if they get the game, like if you look at Resident Evil
You're
2 and 3.
enjoying those hours, of course, right? If you're enjoying your time with that game, right?
Yeah.
I think not just from a consumer standpoint, but I think even from a developer standpoint, particularly a lot of bigger development studios, AAA studios and publishers, they sometimes put too much value on length for a game when it comes to their game development cycle. Like the most recent Dying Light 2, I think they tweeted that the game would take 500 plus hours to beat. Right, as if that was something to be proud of, but the actual main story campaign was only 60 hours. And I think sometimes, like I get what you're saying, I do, but I think sometimes like it is about, there is a lot of fixation on length of games for even with developers. So like they'll like just let a game, as you're developing it, develop naturally. But now I feel like they've got this tick box, right? Like they're going through of going, right, okay, so yeah, so the main story campaign, we have to have that, and then we have to have these types of missions, and then we have to have these towers that you have to climb or something, and that will unlock other missions, and every, and that's why I think I'm just done with open world AAA big games, because I think the game length does affect the development of that game, not necessarily in a positive way. You heard
it here first, everyone. N7 Kate just said, length isn't everything. Take it on, guys. Come on.
It's not.
The girth, I told you.
No.
It's the quality of what's there.
It's not the girth or the length, it's how you use it.
It's the reach and flexibility.
It's the quality. But you know what I'm saying? Why am I the only girl on this podcast?
I could not resist.
No, that's fine, but it is what I said. But yeah, you get what I'm saying, though. Anyway, I'm going to go quiet now because I'm blushing quite a lot right now.
I think as a recap, I think you and I both agree on game length when it's added, like when it's like that stupid stuff. I think it's a very fine line between what we perceive as game length and what is game length in terms of a game to complete. So, like, if a game takes, say, on average to complete 13 to 14 hours, the argument then becomes, are those 13 to 14 hours fun gameplay? Quality. Or if, as a consumer, if we're buying a game, are we viewing game length as something that is for personal people? How many hours are they going to get out of enjoying playing that game? So I think there's two kind of game lengths there. Maybe I agree with you, like artificial game length, because there's like certain games that just do that for the sake of it, and it's just like, no, I don't like that. That's why I think I mentioned at the beginning, like with the game length, it's not stuff that just like kind of artificially extends it. It needs to be like good quality content, and there is too much emphasis on making long sandbox style games.
Yeah,
that give you or even grind based games where you'll play shooters where you have to grind for that like prestige or that
unlocks and all that.
Unlocks, and for some people they enjoy that. And but the same argument then becomes that some people will create these really brilliant games. They charge so much for it, and then it's like barely anything. Like you think, oh, I've just completed that quite quickly, and I feel like I've wasted my money because they don't have that replayability.
Yeah, like the Order 1886 was one case in point. I don't know if any of you ever played that on the PlayStation 4.
Werewolf, wasn't it?
It was a great setting. It was really cool, but god damn, that game was too short. It was like 5 hours long was the campaign, right? And that was totally unacceptable. So it felt like part of that story had just been completely cut or not finished or lifted.
I feel like the current trends are even affecting some of the poor indie developers because they're all thinking, I've got to have some like randomly generated dungeons to extend my game so people will buy it, because if I hear it's too short, they're not going to buy it, and then they're out of pocket and such. But it's a lot of it's like, do any of you guys have like examples of really short games that are just nice? I mean, like they're pretty short, but they're just quality, and you'd say, oh yeah, I'd spend a few quid on that. Like say Limbo, for example, or A Short Hike. those kind of games where it's like, this is a nicely crafted bit of art and this and that. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
throw
it's
some money at that.
a focused game. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be fair, Stray was really good.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I must
really
admit,
enjoyed it.
it's a really short game. I think there's an achievement for doing it in under 2 hours.
Yeah, so it does have replay value because there are like achievements that you can go, to discover things. But yeah,
I feel like it worked really well. It was
did,
a really,
yeah.
really well thought out and well done game.
Yeah, it's the mechanics and your own personal experience as you're playing the game. It's like, if it makes you feel something, then it's like, oh, that is worth the coin, even though it's short. And then sometimes, depending on the type of game it is, you might have replay value all the time, and then it's that bit better, and you're like, yes, I'm happy I spent my money here.
Oh yeah, no, true.
To be fair, actually, one of the best short games I've played is on the PS5, and that's because the little boy absolutely adores it, and that's Astro's Lab.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Definitely.
Yeah. It's so good. I really enjoyed that. I had so much fun playing that.
Yeah, it's a great way of showing off what it can do.
Yeah,
but also...
I had a smile on my face the entire time. I absolutely
honestly,
loved it.
the little lad absolutely loves it. He sits down and he's like, "Daddy, we play robot game now." I'm like, "Okay, fine. Here you go. Here's the remote."
You know what? A short game that is going to sound really weird is Use Your Words on the Switch.
Yeah, so it's technically a party game, isn't it?
Party game, yeah.
But it's short because you can literally play a game. It's like 4 or 5 rounds, but it's going to be different every time. But you can just stop playing once you've done one. I mean, we've played on occasion us lot together when we're in the same house, like maybe 2 games tops, maybe 3 games. But you feel like you've had your fun with it, and then you do something else. That's quite a good pick up and play game. That's just kind of short but sweet, and then you can leave it for months at a time and go back to it.
What do we class as short?
I would probably say anything that you can pick up and play, and just like
in one or 2 sessions, or
1 or 2 sessions, or it could be length in terms of you're picking it up and then you play and you can put it down and then leave it for a while. So like mobile app games, I guess the mobile market, that's a whole new topic probably. Would be examples of that sort of stuff. I'm going to have to be probably that bad guy, unfortunately, but we are getting close to that hour.
That's fine.
If I'll do the proviso here, if people liked what they heard, bar the first 27 minutes of us talking random stuff going else, we can do a part 2 of game length at the very least. If you've enjoyed the podcast, this is episode 4 now, and I think it's been good fun. Please subscribe or leave comments about what you want to see next. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, again, you have a comment below. We can look at arranging something, and then, if there's anything you want to talk about, we can certainly have a chat about it. Please give support to the channel because I generally enjoy doing these, and if people like what they're hearing, just kind of leave feedback or let N7Kate on her channel know because that's always good fun too. But yeah, obviously, thank you again for N7Kate, Dante, and Strife for joining me. And we still need me to have some kind of catchphrase.
You need a catchphrase, yeah, for sure. Because
I'm going to go to hell, surely, or be sued at some point. Happy gaming.
I don't have that. There's no way I'd be able to. Yeah, we need to come up with one. We'll have to think of one. We'll have to think of one off for next time, maybe.
Yeah, I like the Nostalgia Critic. I remember you don't have to. I can't take that one because he's got it for years. Or I'll see you on the next Edgecast, which I can't do because that's Angry Joe. So
all right, Edgecast.
Remember, everyone, keep living on the edge. Cue the music.
Check the rights on the music first.
Yes,
I also Aerosmith. What? My sister will be like, "How dare you, good sir? How dare you?
How very dare!"
Indeed. But thank you all for joining us. This podcast will probably have some kind of Witcher video content. Well, it probably won't, but it'll have some video in the background. If people want me to keep putting video, by the way, to these podcasts, let me know, and I will keep doing so. If no one cares, I really don't mind just having a blank screen with a picture of who's talking, and that's it. I'm not VTubing. But let me again leave comments below in the description. I'll try and timestamp above people as well for when we're
To
doing
avoid
stuff.
the first part.
To avoid the first part, which is the best bit, I reckon, the most fun. And you will see shortly the Witcher no sword punch run highlights. I haven't died yet, which is impressive.
PSO stuff maybe as well.
Well, yeah, I'll be showing that off a little bit as well. This is goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Yep.
Me too.
Go on, guys, wake up.
Also me. I thought we were going down a list of who's in Discord at the
I
moment.
was like,
We don't
yeah.
really know.
Everyone is a different
Sorry,
line.
I have no
Time.
idea.
We are okay.
It's
But
goodnight from me.
have a good evening, good morning, good night. Have a
I'm so out of practice. Yeah,
Good
have a
night,
good week,
Barbie
everyone.
Joe.
Take care.
bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Laters.
Johnny.
Happy gaming.